Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two Dum Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
I ain't staying, I ain't leaving, so don't sit around and cry. Just roll me up and smoke me when I die. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Two Dum Yinzers. This is episode 908. Welcome back, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. Michael.
Yes.
What up? What up?
What up?
So I figured some things out.
Okay.
I'm just going to start with this because I don't want to talk about it all show. Listen, I went back and I watched this halftime show. And all right, I don't hate it. Now I'm going to explain what I mean here in a second. However, I don't think that it was quite loved as much as everyone says that it is. It's the most watched Super Bowl halftime show ever. Okay. But there's plenty of videos out of people that were in the stadium with their cameras looking at everybody as the performance is being had. And there was literally two people that were up dancing around, enjoying themselves. Everybody else was like dealing with their affairs, getting drinks, handing things to other people, talking to their friends. I think that if this hadn't been dropped into the Super Bowl, all the things that are going on in our country, I think that this would have been just half as popular as it was. And this is why a lot of people did turn in. But I have ample solutions moving forward. Because again, I didn't think it was. Listen, I went back. I didn't think it was the worst thing ever because it wasn't. It was interesting. He was walking through this maze, and it was kind of all these experiences and all these things happening around him. So I mean, it wasn't terrible. But I do have, Mike. I have the list of the last 10 Super Bowl halftime shows we're going to look at today, and I'm going to tell you who it should be moving forward. And again, I listen. As I said, I can say it was stupid. I don't like that. I just didn't like that kind of music, and I don't like that kind of performance. But at the end of the day, it wasn't bad for what it was. It was very interesting, and again, I thought well planned, well organized. And again, at the end of the day, I don't think that it was terrible. I think that most people didn't care one way or the other. I think that right now it's just very popular to take sides, and everybody can't just have their own opinion anymore. Without being a bad guy. So Go ahead. You're making a face. I loved it.
I'm just wondering, like, how is it political to say, "Hey, this was a fun halftime show"?
You don't think that this was any way at all connected to
Mm,
anything political as far as the way people followed it and enjoyed it and took sides with it, social media wise, anything. It had nothing to do that was
like,
connected to politics.
the only thing political about the halftime show was an alternate halftime show had to be made by people that were triggered because
Well,
they didn't
listen,
like who was
I'm not
on there.
listen. I'm not talking. We're not talking about that. We'll talk about that another time. If you want to bring that up and have your own facts, that's fine. What I'm talking about is the halftime show that we're talking about, and the halftime show that again was the biggest, most watched halftime show in history. And again, if you think that there wasn't anything political to it, I just can't have the conversation
Like
with you. So I'll just speak. And
they picked someone who had the highest amount of streams and views from Spotify, from Apple Music, one of the biggest selling artists in the world, and they want to grow an international audience. So, hey, we're gonna get the biggest international artist to do our Super Bowl. It's all about the money right there. It's a business decision.
Very interesting. And also, Mike, the one thing else I noticed, there was probably about 70,000 people, maybe more. And again, about 6 of them looked like they were really enjoying themselves at the game. So the point being, I seen the people that was literally there. And if you weren't in the direct camera that was on the field, people were not having a good time. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point being this. I'm going to give you real quick. I'm going to give you the last 10 Super Bowl halftime shows, and let's just take a look at what they have, Mike, and let's just see how the last 10 years have unfolded as far as Super Bowl halftime shows. And again, we're not going to stay on this all show. I came through today, and I wanted to make the point saying that it wasn't terrible. It was actually pretty good, but at the end of the day, let's take a look. See here. So the last 10 halftime shows. And I could have swore I dubbed it down here, but I'm gonna have to go back into it. Again, I can't see how you don't see that this was taken politically in any way when everybody in the country seen it as political. That's the part about you that really gets me. But go ahead.
Like, really, it's like, oh, cool, Bad Bunny was announced, and then everyone of a certain political affiliation freaked the f out.
Again, I
And
don't care about
oh
that.
no, we need our own.
No.
We need our own alternate halftime show because the highest office of the
So
land was freaking out
if you keep
about
diverting on what I'm saying, then I'm just going to do this by myself.
it. Okay, well then you can do the whole show by yourself, bro.
All right.
Every time I want to try and talk about something, it's always about what you want to talk about. This is why I left the show the last time, and this is why I'm going to leave the show now again.
Because
you have fun today doing the show by yourself, and you can have fun doing the show.
All right, take your ball and go home. Go ahead, do it again.
But every time I try and speak, you want to cut me off.
All right, do it. Everybody has to agree with you, so that's what you're saying.
No. You allow everyone else to say whatever they want on this show, but
you say anything that you want. What are you talking about? There he goes. Take the ball and go home. No surprises here, everybody. Tap. Hey, motherfucker. There he goes again. No surprises.
Dude, you allow everyone on the show to say whatever the fuck they want. It could be the most idiotic thing in the comment section, the most divisive, homophobic, xenophobic, transphobic, racist thing, and you read it, and we move on. I try not to have any pushback about anything, and then you don't allow it to happen.
That's not true.
So,
I literally asked you your opinion. I literally asked you your opinion.
Well, that's not what I want to talk about. I'm giving you my opinion on it. You don't like what I'm having to say
because you're diverting
the conversation.
You're literally diverting when I'm diverting when I'm talking about. That's why. If you weren't changing subject, I would have not done that. You literally changed the subject all 3 times. Taking his ball.
I am not changing the subject.
Go ahead. Take your ball. Go home.
How you said it was political, and I said, yeah, this is where all the political discourse came from, and you didn't like the fact that I actually factually pointed out where the political discourse started, because that does not fit your narrative.
Just because in your narrative, when I don't agree with yours, you're jumping off the show, taking your ball, going home, crying to mommy. So if you need to do that,
if I wanted to go home and cry to mommy, I would shut down the show 100% completely.
And then I kick it back off and do it all over from the beginning. It's Mike, just stop. What's your problem?
My problem is whenever I try and say voice an opinion,
your voice.
If you don't like it, you want to shut it down immediately.
I asked you your opinion, and you gave your opinion.
I did. You're like, oh no, that's not what I wanted to.
And you diverted with the question. You went to something totally different.
You said if I thought this picking Bad Bunny was political, and I said no, the only political discourse that came out of it was a certain segment of society thought it was political, when really it's a business decision.
Crazy.
Whatever, dude. I'm like officially 100% done with the show now. I gave it another shot. You have fun with this. Everyone have fun with this. This was
All
fun for
right,
me
there you
for
go.
a
You see
long
it,
time,
everybody. There it
up
is. You
until
watched how this
I'm
played out.
not
Everybody
allowed
could make
to.
their own opinions. And for whatever reason,
Everyone's
Mike is
allowed to have their own
quitting.
opinions, but
He's
me
quitting. So
apparently
there you
on
go.
this show.
Do what you want with that, everybody. So let's
You
move
know what?
on.
Hey, how about this? How about I shut down this entire program right now and you figure out how to restart it yourself?
Because why would you do that? That's a fucking bitch ass move. You know that? That's what a bitch
Why?
ass
You
would
want to
do.
be a dick? I can
You're
be a
being
dick too, buddy.
Mike, we're having a talk show. It's a debatable issue. What's
Yeah,
your
when I
problem?
try to have a debate, you want to shut me down because you don't like what I'm saying.
That's not the case. You were diverting to a whole totally different
No, it was
topic.
not.
I'm talking about Bad Bunny. You're talking
You
about
said how you said that do you think it's political? I said no.
and then you went on to tell me why it was political.
From the right wing.
And then you went to go on to tell me how it was political. It's not political, but this is how it is. If it is,
I said
because
that's
it differs from your opinion.
The only thing of politics I saw was from this side.
All right, do what you want with that. Listen. I'm not gonna listen. Just move forward, take your little ball, go home, cry to mommy, as you always do. What we're going to do is we're going to go over the last 10 Super Bowl halftime shows and just take a look at what they were. Did we enjoy these? Or are these really what we want for our halftime shows? And again, we're going to get into so much more today. Welcome back to the show. This is, again, episode 908 of the Two Dum Yinzers. Mike walks off the show yet again. Looks like that's just going to be the way that it is with the Two Dum Yinzers. Again, I don't get it. You can't have a conversation. You can't talk about anything. That's debatable. So I guess that'd be the case, guys. So there you go. Finch will be back tomorrow and Thursday. Let me continue with my point here. Yesterday, over the weekend, we had Bad Bunny. Last year, Kendrick Lamar last year. Usher was the year before. Rihanna. The Weeknd. Who is The Weeknd? I got to be honest with you. Even at this point in 2021, when The Weeknd was the halftime show, I don't even know who that is. 2020, Shakira, J-Lo. 2019, this was the best one in my opinion, was the Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar. 2022, Lady Gaga. 2017, Justin Timberlake. So my point being, aren't they all kind of poppy? Isn't that, didn't they kind of get away from giving us a variety of different music and a different assortment of entertainment for halftime show? That's my point. And again, I came out today and I made the point to say that I enjoyed it. I went back and I watched it and it was actually not that bad. It was a good halftime show. It was put together well. It was choreographed well. But at the end of the day, as I'm watching this person pan around with their camera at the Super Bowl, there was literally about 6 people enjoying themselves. Is this what people want? Again, do you want variety or do you want the same thing every year in, year out? I think a variety is good. For some reason, I'm a bad guy for wanting to see a variety of different halftime shows. But again, it's just is I don't know. And that's just where I'm at. It seems like there could be more diversity. Give a little bit of something for everybody. But at the end of the day, very, very poppy. It wasn't like that early on. It went to that and turned into that more as the Super Bowl moved down the years. And that was the point, guys. For whatever reason, Mike freaked out, went home, took his ball, stuck his thumb in his mouth, and marched back to mommy. And we're going to continue on. Let me start on the board this morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Glad to see everybody this morning. RB says this. I need to get at you guys about what Ryan and I discussed. I'm more out of date than I thought I was. LOL. I need help knowing all what I need. Absolutely, dude. I will talk to you later today. Tortilla says, I saw pictures where people in the front row couldn't even see it because the bushes, they say it's like watching your neighbors have a party. What's up, Tortilla? Great seeing you, my man. RB says this. I don't care one way or another. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I mean, if you look at what he's singing about and then see people say it was about unity, makes me laugh. Eating ass, one night stay. Exactly. For some reason, those things aren't ever talked about. It's about just people not being fair and not liking the guy singing about eating ass. So I don't know. Do what you want with it. Again, base your own opinions on everything today. RB says this. Just be honest. Don't make shit up about unity. Exactly. Very, very politically driven, and I don't care what anybody says. Tortilla says, yeah, it's definitely about growing an international audience or expansion teams. Are we going to see expansion teams overseas? Or are we going to see, because next year they're having nine international games. And is that what's going on? Are they trying to expand the NFL overseas? Because if they are, that's interesting. Yes, obviously trying to grow the audience is a big thing. That's no surprise. But at the end of the day, they, what maybe. I mean, they're going overseas playing a lot of games. Is it possible? Is it possible to have a team outside of the United States one day in the NFL? Let's scoot up to Yinzer Joe. He says this: I would have just left at halftime show alone. Now that it's over, but it's I've seen videos of the crowd like lost and not into it. I also understand now that the lyrics were very offensive. So why does nobody that's defending him talk about those things? I wonder. What's up, Ty? Always great seeing Tyrone on the terrible board. RB says this: I disagree. When the guy who came out publicly with the political thoughts and loudly about it leading up to it had the entire English thing too. It was 1,000% a political statement. I don't understand how you could think that it's not. That's insane. That's crazy. Tortilla says this: I didn't hate it or love it. Just like the game and commercial, Super Bowl is kind of Super Bowl in general kind of sucked all around. I agree. It was a terrible Super Bowl until the fourth quarter. RB says this: you want to enjoy my music, learn Spanish. Also, Tyrone says, speaking of that, Ryan, I was effing with this Latino, and I made a joke about her about Bad Bunny performance and said it was trash, and she said I was rude and disrespectful. Take it easy, guys. Ty, my man. Tortilla says this is more competitive than the football game. RB says the entire halftime show is stupid. It's nothing actual football fans want. Everyone feels that they need to use it to make some sort of statement, perform your music. Exactly, right? And if that would have been the case, that's one thing, but that wasn't the case. Tortilla says this: who was the last band that did the halftime show? The last band that did the halftime show was actually Maroon 5, which is 10 years ago. So again, the variety's not there. That's not what it's about. It isn't about making everybody happy. It's RB says overseas expansion won't ever work. Guys won't want to play out of the country. Those teams will fail epically. Not a bad point, man. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the show again, everybody. This is episode 908 of the Two Dum Yinzers. And yes, there's only 73 days till the draft left, guys. Just 73. Tortilla says Maroon 5 don't count. But I'm just talking about anybody that's using guitars or, just basic rock format. Maroon 5 would be that. And I don't know. My point was this. At the very top of the show, I said it wasn't as bad as I initially thought it was. I don't see how that's bad. For two, I said that, so my solution. Somebody mentioned on the board yesterday, they said, what about Willie? How about Willie Nelson before this guy dies? Roll him up and smoke him roll me up and smoke me when I die. How about something like that? I'm just saying that a little bit of a variety. I don't know, anything that's a little bit different than what we've been watching for the last 10 years. And again, I got to be honest with you, over the past 10 years, let me look at these again. Kendrick Lamar, Bad Bunny, Usher, Rihanna, The Weeknd. Again, I don't even know who The Weeknd is. Shakira, J-Lo. This one was my favorite. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar. I thought that was the greatest Super Bowl halftime show that I've seen to date. Then Lady Gaga, Justin Timberlake, more pop people. But I don't know. And here's the thing. A lot of times in the past, people would use pop because it was a safe haven for things like the Super Bowl. And it was very well-rounded and almost, again, a lot of people are fans just because it was pop. And it wasn't particularly rock. It wasn't particularly heavy metal. It wasn't particularly rap. It wasn't anything that anybody might not, but now, again, if it's used politically, it defeats the purpose. And again, I don't know. I'd like to see just a little bit more diversity, as everybody else would, in most cases. But why not? Why not a little Willie Nelson? Roll me up and smoke me when I die. That's what I'm favoring. And again, it was all kind of the joke. The conversation was written up to be a joke to a degree, and it got taken out of hand. And again, I don't know. I don't know what that was all about. But why not 2 Live Crew? I like that, RV. We could have some 2 Live Crew, some Me So Horny. Why not have that? Me So Horny. All kind of good stuff by 2 Live Crew. Let's go down a little bit. I don't want to miss out on anybody today. Let's go right here to Tortilla. He says, I'm just being biased. And you know what? That's your, and here's the thing. You're not being biased because, again, everybody at that stadium was not, there was 6 people. Pull up the videos. It's just all I'm saying. It was not as exciting as everybody says it was. It was more tuned into by people that aren't football fans because of everything that's going on around. That's exactly why. I try to convince me otherwise. It's what happened. It is what it is. Tyrone says this. Well, today off to a rocky start. The judge says this. Kendrick Lamar was last year's halftime show. Yes, 2025 Kendrick Lamar. Finch is at work. Finch will be in tomorrow, and Finch will be in on Thursday. Corey, what's up, dude? Corey says, I still don't even know what a Bad Bunny is. It used to be hot chicks that pranced around in very little clothing, but now it's a dude that wears a martial arts looking outfit, apparently. But I do have a couple good things to say about him here in just a second. Chad Schrader, what's up, dude? He says, what's up, Yinzer fam? And congrats on the to the Niners. See on his pregnancy. Christian McCaffrey on his commercial. Tyrone says that shit was lame as fuck. Also, RB says this. I mean, what's the difference between what we just got and 2 Live Crew other than what they're maybe that's what it is. Maybe because you don't know what they're saying. And or you don't know what he's saying. Maybe that was why. Maybe if they sung in Spanish, maybe 2 Live Crew would be at the halftime show. Derpy just got a promotion. Tortilla's saying, Inter says a Bad Bunny is one that is found decaying in your backyard and you smell it through your home. We've all been there. Welcome back, everybody. A lot of things, guys. As I said, 73 days, just 73 days till the draft right here in Pittsburgh, guys. The offseason is on. I have a bunch of important dates for you moving forward in this offseason, guys. It's going to be a big one, as we've been saying all along, and it hasn't changed yet. And if you're just tuning in, welcome to the show. Welcome. A lot of things going on. We'll be on vacation next week, guys. Again, we'll be going through this week, wrapping it up on Friday. We're going to take next week off for our winter break, and then we'll be back the following Monday, ready to start over fresh, kind of to reload a little bit, if you will. But a lot of things, guys. Let me talk about this, about the Bad Bunny. The Bad Bunny is, and again, I'm giving the guy credit. I came in today with all purpose to give the guy credit. And this is what I'm going to say about Bad Bunny now. Bad Bunny, he actually rushed more than the New England Patriots did in the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny ran for more yards, or he literally walked more yards while walking through that maze than the New England Patriots had in the Super Bowl. He outgained the Patriots. Bad Bunny outgained the Patriots rushing game 124-79. Bad Bunny walked 124 yards on his video. In the New England Patriots, they rushed for 79 yards, 124-79. Bad Bunny outrushed the New England Patriots. So there you go. I'm saying good things about Bad Bunny. I don't know what all the hostility is about today, but also, while I'm saying good things about Bad Bunny, I do want to continue to shit on New England a little bit, because that's a great thing to do. And a matter of fact, as a Steeler fan, it's a very fun thing to do. So as the New England Patriots get outrushed by the Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl, also, New England, in a 2-week span, guys, the New England Patriots, former coach Bill Belichick, he does not get selected to the Hall of Fame. The owner, Robert Kraft, he does not get selected to the Hall of Fame. And finally, the Patriots get dominated in the Super Bowl, pretty much embarrassed. Again, maybe should have been a little closer to a shutout than it really was. The game itself would indicate that. However, the fourth quarter, there was a lot of scoring. It really changed the way the game looked. And at the end of the day, if you would take the first 3 quarters, looked at the numbers, looked at the scoring, it's certainly night and day and doesn't tell the same tale that the fourth quarter tells. So when you look at the score, it certainly looks like it was a different kind of a game. Again, I see that as the 12-0 game that it was most of the game, and all the way up through the third quarter when New England had 0 points and they managed to come out and score a couple times in the fourth quarter. But at the end of the day, a terrible 2 weeks for New England, and I couldn't be happier as a Steeler fan, guys. New England again, Bill Belichick getting snubbed, Robert Kraft getting snubbed, and the Patriots dominated in the Super Bowl. You love to see it. Also, Drake May, he joins Brock Purdy and Joe Burrow, who all lost the Super Bowl in their second season as quarterbacks in the NFL. So they always say, and it just got broke last year, anybody who loses their first Super Bowl doesn't ever come back to win one. And, of course, Jalen Hurts did break that last year, but prior to that, that was the case. And as I did say, these 3 quarterbacks They all lost their first Super Bowl appearance, and it was all in their second season. Again, Drake May, Brock Purdy, and Joe Burrows. So do what you want with that, guys. Let's move on. I want to get on the board, see what everybody's up to today. I don't want to miss anybody on this Tuesday's installment of the show. Lots of things going on, guys. Let me jump right here. Chad Schrader says, sorry, Super Bowl's Bad Bunny sucked. By Green Day did an awesome job. Don't drink that. Corey says, I want a hologram Tupac half. Now that's what I'm talking about. I would love a hologram Tupac. You know, it's not pop. It's something that people actually enjoy and just don't have one in the background at the radio at work. I mean, you know, let me scoot up here. Tyrone says, I said he can't sing, and she flipped out. RB says, to be fair, if a big sweaty dude was running at Bad Bunny, he'd probably drop his pants and bend over. The Pats at least tried to move the ball. He was in wrestling, though, too. Bad Bunny was in the WWE. That's kind of interesting. He was in WWE. And I remember hearing that. As a matter of fact, when I heard that Bad Bunny was a singer, I thought that's an odd name for two people to have, and it ended up being the same guy. Bad Bunny, the singer, was Bad Bunny the wrestler. Let's do scoot up here. Also, RB says this on a serious note. Do you see everyone in the Belichick debates absolutely refuse to acknowledge Spygate? Yes. They think that it never happened. People in New England literally think that they never cheated, when in fact they got caught. They got caught multiple times. Spygate, Deflategate, you know. They think that's I think that's normal. They think, listen, what if New England didn't do these things and somebody else did? I'd be crying. New England fans would be the worst. But acts so surprised and shocked, blame it for his media treatment. Tyrone says, I'm just off chilling. Tortilla says, industry plant. Let me go right here. Tyrone says, worst Super Bowl performance I've seen, honestly. But you're not allowed to say it. You're not allowed to have an opinion that you don't like it, which is bullshit. So come on. So why everything sucks now? You don't agree with everybody, you're a fucking bad guy. You're a villain. When that's what everything's based on, is your opinions, in which, you know, everybody can have their own interest. And at the end of the day, if you bitch about something, you get thrown into a group and you're a hateful person. It's fucking stupid. That's bullshit. Tyrone says this. Kenneth says this. Hello, guys. What's up, dude? Always great seeing the great Kenneth Jones on the terrible board. My man, Kenneth. Always great seeing you. And Steel Loyal, what's up? He says, even Skittles don't taste the same. Nothing tastes the same anymore. Fast food is so jacked up. They took all the good stuff out. Whatever the MGMs and high corn fructose syrup is, they took it out, and it's fucking terrible. Everything sucks now. Fast food tastes terrible, and it's so much more. Spend $8.50 for a fillet of fish at McDonald's. That's insane. Insane to me. Let me scoop right along here, though, and go here. Tyrone says this, right? She basically called me racist, Ryan, because I ain't like this. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's a racist now. You can't have your own opinion. If you have a different opinion, you're a racist. It's bullshit. And if you have the opposing opinion of a certain group, or either way, don't get me wrong, I'm not protecting one side or another. I'm just saying, you know, you get labels thrown at you for having a different opinion, which that is absolutely not how it's supposed to be, and especially in this country. I grew up in a different time. Everybody had their own opinion. Everybody had something different that they loved, and that was what made America great. I liked rock, you liked rap, she liked country, and you know what? Everybody got along just fine. Now, if you don't like what everybody's talking about, you're a racist. It's bullshit. It's stupid. It's idiotic. Let me scoot along. Tortilla says this. Mike Tomlin is doing that. You know what? I'd rather watch Mike Tomlin. I'd rather watch Mike Tomlin walk around a maze with the football in his hand. I'm going to be honest with you. Singing Tomlinisms. Corey says that's no different than Trump. So, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sticking up for one side or the other. They're both just as guilty as the other. Both sides are just as bad as the other, just in different ways. That's no different than supporters refusing to acknowledge Trump's in the files. First, it's innocent until proven guilty, and then it's guilty but play ignorant to it. I think, and you're a conspiracy minded guy, Corey. I think that it's all part of something bigger. If it was cut and dry, I think the layers on that just keep going and keep going and keep going. And at the end of the day, very little has to do with the fact that if we think that these people are pedophiles or not. I think that this is just a topical layer and it goes so much deeper. And I think we're going to find that out down the road. Let me go right here to RB says this: peace, love, and unity until you disagree with the single thing I say. Tyrone says the three mics. Steel Loyal says, laugh my ass off. If Tyrone is a racist, I'm the Pope of Yugoslavia. Exactly. Exactly. RB says this: I like how everything is phobic. I promise you, I'm not. I know, exactly. I'm not scared of anything. Quit throwing phobics on the end of everything. Believe me, I'm not as scared of shit. Tyrone says this: there's no way Tyrone is the racist. He eats Taco Bell every day. Very true. Kenneth says, that's Steel Loyal. I caught that. Tyrone says, laugh my ass off, Loyal. I just unadded her. I ain't tripping no pussy worth disrespect. Steel Menaces. I remember when we could all have different options and still go out and enjoy the beer together. Not anymore. Somebody disagrees, they're your enemy. And come on, that's third world shit, man. That's the way people think that don't have anything, and it's a shame. It's a shame. Corey says this is an experiment to see. This kind of, I think Corey is heading in the right direction. He says, and it's an experiment to see how desensitized we are and how we handle disclosure and see how divided we are. If we can't handle this, we can't handle the alien life, which I think has its own whole story. Corey obviously, I think would agree. Steel Menace's opinions. RB says the Epstein files are retarded. It's all words. You know what? I don't even know if half of that shit is even. Again, listen, we're halfway into the show, and I'm not going to stay on politics the whole time. But at the end of the day, there's so much more to what's going on here than what you're showing us. And again, I doubt that half the things that we're even being told is even remotely true. I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of bullshit going on out there for a lot of different reasons. And again, they're leaving us out here to fend for ourselves against one another. While I think they're all a lot closer to each other than we think they are when it comes to politics. I think, again, both of those wings are on the same bird. Let me go right here. Aaron Jade, always great seeing the great Aaron Jade. He says, here we go, Steelers with the Rockets. I love it. I can now go on with my day. RB says, I ran with drug dealers in high school. I didn't deal drugs. Street Loyal says, Steel Loyal says, everybody cares about what everybody thinks about them, when in reality, you should focus on what you think of yourself. That's what matters. And here we go. Tyrone, my man, also kind of says they are solidifying their power by openly showing us we can do nothing. You're right. There's things happening. There are things that are certainly happening. Don't drink that. Corey says, I'm willing to connect the dots for anyone who wants to have the conversation, but I'm done talking about it on your show. I have an email for anyone. Absolutely. Go check out Corey on his Conspiracy Theory podcast, guys. Don't drink that right here on YouTube. Go check it out. Tortilla says, can't wait for the halftime show in space. Let's move on, guys. Let's get into some Steela talk. We have important dates today. Again, we are just 73 days away from the draft right here in Pittsburgh. I can't wait, guys. It's going to be a blast. Steel Loyal says this. He said he's going to add us on MySpace. RB says Epstein was a useful idiot for you know what? And I highly doubt that Epstein's even dead. Listen, how much of this can you do you know for a fact is real? You know what I mean? We don't even know that this guy could be. We don't know. We don't know. We know what they tell us. And being compromised is certainly not out of the question. And I think that's what a lot of people's arguments are. Well, how are you going to get all these people? Because power and money, they have a lot of influence. And that's, Yinzer Joe says I ran around with hot chicks, but they weren't hookers. I'm no pimp. Let me grab some. Let's get into some things here today. Sam Darnold, let's just talk about him for a couple more minutes, and we are going to get into some Steeler stuff here. Sam Darnold, guys, he won the Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson, before Josh Allen, and before Joe Burrow. Did anybody see that coming? Did anybody see Sam Darnold winning the Super Bowl before any or all of those three quarterbacks, guys? I did. Oh, that's right. I've been calling it for years. I said this guy's going to be something. He's going to end up winning a Super Bowl. And again, I have been saying all along that I didn't think Lamar was going to. I'm guilty. I certainly fell in. I fell in the Allen thing. I did say I thought that Allen would get it done, and he did not. And Joe Burrow, guys. But again, Sam Darnold. At the end of the day, people said I was crazy. You don't want him on your team. He had one good season. He had a bunch of receivers in Minnesota, which was true. But he went to another team and won 14 games and won the Super Bowls. But again, guys, Sam Darnold winning the Super Bowl before the MVP, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. So do whatever you want with that. As we continue to dance around with our 42-year-old quarterback here in Pittsburgh, I don't really feel like we're gaining anything as this continues, as the possibility we learned over the weekend was getting was higher. There's a higher chance that Aaron Rodgers will be back than there was last week, as conversations were had between him and Coach McCarthy. So again, I don't know where this is going. I can't say I particularly like it, because again, in the big picture, where are we? What's going on? What are we doing? Did we, we've been having quarterback issues forever since Ben left, and we still can't get it together. Now they're going to kick the can down the road another year. And one more year again, still no resolve, because that's what having Aaron Rodgers at quarterback at 43 years old tells me, that there's no resolve. They don't have pieces in place to move forward, is what they tell us. And and this is what this tells me by bringing Aaron back again and again and again. It's just, if somebody else was doing it, let's say that things were going well for the Steelers, and Minnesota went through what we went through last year with Aaron Rodgers. And then another year goes by, and instead of trying to really fix what they have going on for this, 2026, for the seventh year in a row, they just bring Aaron Rodgers back again. That would tell me that they don't have a plan in place, and they're just moving forward, kind of kicking this can down the road, hoping something eventually falls into their lap. And again, is he going to win us some games? And may he win us a little bit more with a different offense, with Mike McCarthy, with the line blocking better, with some targets at the wide receiver position? Maybe. Colin Cowherd, who said we were going to start 0-6 last year, says that we will add 2 wins to our record this year if Aaron Rodgers comes back. And again, coupled with Mike McCarthy, coupled with the offensive line blocking more, and again, being together another year. So in theory would be another year better. And now having more options at wide receiver, which again, we hope is going to happen as the draft is just 73 days away right here in Pittsburgh. So again, it may not be the worst thing ever, but is it running in place? Can we wait a whole nother year as fans? Okay, let's do this again. Let's run it through again. And as I said, the board is a very smart group of people. People that come on this terrible board, they have it figured out. And you guys say, you can say the same thing, and this is what it's going to be. I see the writing on the wall, and guess what? It played out exactly the way that the RBs said, and the way that Big John Stud, middle name Mud, said, and the way that everybody said on the board. It isn't rocket science. If we don't fix anything, how do we expect things to improve or change, for that matter, at all? And again, going back with Aaron Rodgers, again, in my opinion, it's just another year. Again, adding another win or two onto your season, that's fantastic. And let's say they could get a playoff win with Aaron, with Coach McCarthy, with an offensive line, and with wide receivers. But do you really feel that you're moving forward? Again, we're going to be in 2027 by time that would change, if Aaron Rodgers would come back. So again, I don't understand what it is that they're looking for. Maybe they see lightning in a bottle somewhere in the college ranks, and they're just waiting. They're just waiting it out, and we'll make our move when the time comes. But again, with a year like this, you have the draft in your city. Again, your franchise quarterback is up for a Hall of Fame cast, this time next year. So there's some big things going on for the Steelers. I just don't understand. Again, and we're not inside the boardroom, we're not inside the meeting room, so we don't know. But at the end of the day, it's just another year of effing around. and not fixing what needs to be fixed. And unless they're a lot smarter than we are, and this is all part of a bigger plan, and it's just playing out, and they're getting everything in place, and they have somebody that they have their eye on, or again, Will Howard, or I don't know. We don't know. Again, it just seems odd to me that, again, it'll be an 8-year time period where it's been nothing but blunders at quarterback, and they really didn't even make an attempt to do anything of value at the position. So, again, just very, very interesting, guys. Aaron Rodgers, again, is expected more to return than he was last week, at least. That's what we do know up to date. What else do we got here, guys? This one. I saw someone this morning when I was reading and getting things written down for the show. Jared Goff for a first-round pick. I am absolutely not liking that at all. And it's just a suggestion. It's nothing. But if there's anybody that I could be least excited about, it would be a Jared Goff. Matt Stafford, he's the guy. He's got again, Jared Goff on a very, a very talented team. Can you imagine Jared Goff coming into our disaster? I just can't imagine giving Jared Goff, Kenneth, right? He says, no way, Jared Goff for a first-round pick. That's insane. Absolutely not. Again, and it has no credence to it. But again, this was something that I did see this morning as I was gathering content material. Somebody recommended Jared Goff for a first round. I don't even want Jared Goff. I didn't like him in Los Angeles. He managed to score 3 points in a Super Bowl. I think that he's underachieving in Detroit. I think with the team that you have around him, they shouldn't keep getting bounced and not making the playoffs the way that they are. Steel Loyal says, speaking of a quarterback that chokes in the playoffs, you ain't kidding. Let me jump back on the board here. I don't want to get too far behind as there is a lot coming in today, guys. Welcome. Good morning. Glad to see everybody. Good to see you guys. We got a lot going on here. Let me find where we're at here. Because again, I want to keep caught up. I truly, honestly do. A lot of stuff coming here. There we go. I'm going to go right here to Kenneth. Kenneth says this. I've seen several pictures that say he's in. I seen those pictures too. And I seen somebody have AI take the glasses and the beard off. I'm just saying, check that out. Don't drink that says he's not dead. I have a photo of him recently. Yes, I seen it, man. In Israel, everybody's talking about it. And again, whether it's him or not, I don't know. But again, ask AI to take his glasses and beard off. I think you'll be a bit surprised. Mark Malone, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Mark Malone. He says there are some accounts that the body they willed out of there wasn't even Epstein. I never thought it was Epstein from day one. What a weird story to begin with. Of course, this guy, the cameras go off, the guard falls asleep, and then he's dead. Come on. We're smarter than that, I think. Steel Loyal says Super Bowl winning quarterback Sam Darnold. And you know what? He didn't even have to back up like Kenny Pickett. He went out and did it as a starter. Good on him. Tortilla, nope. Tyrone, I knew Burrow. Lamar has no chance. I like Burrow's chances if he goes elsewhere. He just has no chance in Cincinnati. Nobody has a chance in Cincinnati. And Lamar, again, I think his window's closing because he's losing the attributes that really made him what he is as far as an athlete and the kind of quarterback that he is. As he gets older and those injuries mount up, I'm just wondering, is Lamar's window closing more and more every year? Steel Loyal says Burrow was closer than Lamar and Josh. You're right. At least he got to the Super Bowl. You're not lying. Steel Menace says that's wild. RB says this. Speaking of Darnold, can we please stop trying to rush a young quarterback here? Look at Rodgers, Love, Mayfield, Darnold, Jones, Willis, who all took time to actually sit before they became good. Not a bad point. Ugh. Rick 74, what's up, dude? Always great seeing new names. Welcome to the Terrible Board. Welcome to the show. Rick says this. Do we know Patrick Graham or new secondary coach emphasis is turnovers? For all bash, Austin got one thing positive said of his coaching was the Steelers were pretty good at trying to get turnovers. Absolutely. And you know what? I got to be honest with you, Rick. At the end of the day, I got to see what's going on with Coach Graham because they were, again, the 32nd best team in the league this year. Do what you want with that. I mean, yes, they didn't have the ideal roster, but at the end of the day, do we? We have things in place. We have things that we like. But at the end of the day, what I do know from just the topical information is Patrick Graham was the defensive coordinator on the 32nd best team in the league. So we're going to learn. We'll learn. There was certainly guys that I liked that aren't here anymore. And it's certainly going to be a question mark moving forward because, again, they did finish 32nd out of 32. That says something. Joe says, damn Ryan is Nostradamus in disguise. That's what they say. Nostradamus, you call me. Mark Malone, he says, this Rodgers gives us our best chance to win. And I can't deny that, Mark. And the thing is, at the end of the day, is that what we're happy with? Is keeping the 40-some-year-old quarterback around because he gives us the better chance of getting wins? Or do you make the step in the direction to finally stand on your own feet? Or do you keep letting your parents carry you around? You know what I mean? At what point are we going to get down on our own 2 feet and start walking and quit having Aaron Rodgers carry this team and, again, figure out how to win with people that aren't 43-year-old future Hall of Fame Aaron Rodgers? Because, again, he's not going to be here much longer. This year at the most. But beyond that, he goes and he retires as a Packer, and we forget about this. And we all talk about the 2 years that Aaron Rodgers came in at the end of his career and helped us get a win or 2 wins. To me, that's not the 2 wins isn't it shouldn't equal getting better, or it shouldn't trump getting better. There should be, after 7 years, some more ideas and plans in place to make this quarterback situation better, and it's just not getting better. So start throwing Rooney's ass under the bus. Let's start throwing everybody. I don't care who the hell's getting thrown under the bus. Things need to get better. Otherwise, listen, say we finish 11-6 and we lose in the playoffs, did we even improve? We went 10-7. Let's say we finish 11-6 and go to the playoffs and lose in the first round. Did we even improve? No, but we kept Aaron Rodgers around because, he helps us get wins. How is that helping this team move forward and get better? Maybe start the younger guy, get a look at him, take some lumps, let him learn the hard way and learn how to win together. And also, I have nothing against having him sit behind Aaron Rodgers and learning. I think that's a good thing. But again, we're 7 years strong. And are we going to give this a decade before we start, making our voices heard that, this team may need to improve at some point? We may need to handle this quarterback situation at some point. At least in the past, we had Cordells and O'Donnells and guys that were able to step in and be legitimate. There's just, again, we're moving in on another decade of what I think that we would think we were trying to get away from, but I don't know. I don't know. So in my opinion, I don't know if another year of Aaron Rodgers is satisfying or not. Yes, he'll help us get some wins. But in the big picture, is that ultimately what we need? Do you trade 1 or 2 wins this year for the next 4 years of your football team? I don't think that you do. Let me jump in over here. I'm gonna go right here. RB says NFL's quarterback rush has led to zero development for quarterbacks and ruined a ton of talent. Guys, Steel Loyal says at Rick, that's just Steelers football, not Terrell Austin. Also, Kenneth says got to be able to move as quarterback in today's league. And for the most part, I mean, Sam Darnold's, if you're smart enough and you got a good enough arm, I mean, there's ways to get around. But for the most part, you're right. That's the way the league is moving. Mark Malone says you draft Robertson, Becker, or Lar. Hopefully one of them or higher develops. If not, draft another guy next year. Tortillas is more like kicking against the wall. Basically. RB says you look at guys who were winning Super Bowls recently or all guys who sat and learned for a season or two and wasn't just thrown to the wolves. All right. And I said, and as I said too, man, I don't disagree. I think him sitting behind Howard is a good thing. Or I mean, beside sitting behind Rodgers is a good thing. But we're going to give it another year. What happens if next year comes around and something comes up and, then we have a whole nother. Again, it's closing in on a decade in this matter as well, as it was in the last matter. And we'll see. We'll see if we get proactive on it or not. RB says this. I'm sorry, Jamal. What's up, dude? Gang. Always great seeing Jamal on the terrible board. Hope things are well for you, my friend. Tyrone says, facts, loyal. That's the players, Austin. Terrible DC, just like Smith as offensive coordinator. We're already better with those two gone, in my opinion. Tyrone says, Jamal, you missed it. Shaking my head. Mike's gone again. Yinzer Joe says, this Colin Coward is always wrong. Then he apologizes and tries to make it. Exactly. That's how that dude gets clicks. There's no two ways about it. He says the stupidest shit ever. Let me go here too. Tortilla says, no, Mike will be back WWE style. Also, Still Loyal says Colin Coward knows how to get the views. That's exactly. I ask, ask how many people, trust his opinion. He gets the views though. Still Loyal says, yes, I spelled his first name, colon. Nice. Tyrone says, I don't think so. I really didn't see the problem for real. I don't think anybody did. Steele says this, I missed it too, but oh well, been enough drama. Yinzer Joe says going back to Rodgers is the only chance the team has to move forward. There is nothing out there in free agency for the draft. Use them to help build Howard and the team. Tyrone says, I feel bad for you riding the goat, bro. We appreciate you for. Hey man, we'll be here. I'll be here no matter what. No problem, dude. Thank you. Kenneth says this, no way, God. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Come on. And these are the answers. Go out and trade a first rounder for Goff. You got to be kidding me. Again, Goff, very, very, very underwhelming in my opinion. With that Detroit team, they should not be missing the playoffs. Steel Loyal said this, brothers fight. Mike will be back. Might have to have a wrestling match, but it'll be worth it. Steel Loyal says no. Also, Steel Loyal says this, speaking of quarterback that chokes in the playoffs, LOL. You're right with Goff. Hell no, Somber says. Tortilla says, I'll give a 2085 first-round pick for Goff. Tyrone says, I hope, but we'll see. Somber, what's up, dude? He says, enough with these ancient relics. Enough with these ancient relics already. Give us a quarterback. There's quarterbacks everywhere. They're all around the league. They're in college. We can't get one. Let me scooch up here too. Don't drink that. Corey says, wasn't that also Goff's second year? Was it a second year? I'm not sure. It could have very well been, Corey. Rick says Rodgers, yes, gives you a better record. I bet. My worry be McCarthy thinking Rodgers is still close to Aaron he had in Green Bay. Let me ask this, guys. How many people think here that the Steelers could be in the AFC Championship game within the next 4 years? You think we could be in the AFC Championship game in the next 4 years? I think. I'm just curious. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, Coach McCarthy is on a 5-year contract, but let me know if you think that the Steelers could be in the AFC Championship game in the next 4 years. Steel Loyal saying definitely we can be, and I hope that we can be, and I hope that we are. But again, how close do you think that team last year looked like it was from being an AFC Championship game team? You got to think wins were tight. Losses were usually 10 to 14 points. I mean, look at the Seattle Seahawks. They beat us 31-17. There's a 2-touchdown loss. And the wins that we got, New England, we needed 5 turnovers, and we won by a touchdown. So, and closer in the games that we won. So that's what I'm saying. Are we that close yet? What do we need to have happen? What needs to be? What breaks us through that wall to get us to be a championship game caliber team? I mean, right now it would be nice to be a championship caliber team because there's nobody out there that's really blowing the setting the world on fire. So, like New England, they had a really good chance and they got it in there and they took advantage of it. And unfortunately, it didn't finish well for them. But at the end of the day, I mean, what do we got to do? What do we got to do to be a team that gets blown out every year in the first round to being a team that people were literally saying, you know what, this team has a shot. This team is. Let me find it. I don't know where it is. Matter of fact, I'm thinking of the wrong thing, but I just wonder how close we are to that point. I'd like to think that we're close, but again, I thought last year's team was going to be better, and they finished 10-7 with the first round loss. You went and changed out 11 of your 22 starters between 2 seasons ago and last year. 50%, a 50% turnover on your football team, and you finished with the same exact result. Are the Steelers in arm's reach of an AFC championship game? I wonder. Continue to throw your answers and opinions up on the board. What's it going to take us to break the hump, to break the cycle, to get over the hump, to get over the hurdle? What is it going to take the Steelers to get from being a 10-7 first round knockout in the playoffs team? What's this team got to do to grow, to move forward? And how is that going to be different than what we've done over the past 10 years? I know a lot of people are going to say the coach, and fair. What else? Obviously, things have to happen between now and then. So I'm just kind of curious what you guys think. And again, I hope we're going to be good enough in the next 4 years. But again, here we are, a decade gone by, and we still haven't won a playoff game. So again, I think it's a legit question. Let me jump back on the board here. 2, Kenneth says, while allegedly on the suicide watch. Come on. With the F speaking already. He was on suicide watch. And the guard fell asleep and the camera turned off. It's crazy, Kenneth. He also says Lamar is is past peak talent, so we'll see if other traits carry him on. And that's what I'm saying. If he can't carry this team with his arm, and he's lucky he has a Derrick Henry in that. Believe me, if this team started 1-5 with Derrick Henry, can you imagine Lamar trying to carry this team off his arm without a Derrick Henry? Come on. Baltimore might be in trouble again. I think his window is closing, and it's closing fast. Rick says this: I don't think because he has his old coach back that Rodgers is going to be any less frustrated with his receivers in 2026, especially since, aside from DK, Muth said it'll be likely a whole new wide receiver room. And I was thinking that earlier. Once you do draft a couple wide receivers, perhaps, where do the Calvin Austins go? Where does Roman Wilson? Does he get lost in the mix, or do they find a way to implement him in the new receiver room? A lot of questions, guys. What it's going to take to get this team over that hump. I think getting over the hump is the big part, because once we figure out how to get over this hump, we're just so stuck in place. And once you pull yourself out of the quicksand, then you can walk again. And you can start doing the things you need to do to move forward with your legs. But if you're stuck in the quicksand, you're not going anywhere. It's going to be the same thing over and over and over. And again, I am saying this because I acknowledge that there's a lot of things that need to go down. It's from the owners to the GMs to the coaches to the players to everybody. We made a move. We made a big move. Let's see if it was warranted. Let's see if that's the difference, or again, if this is something deeper. And again, paying a pass rusher to get 7 sacks last year, quarterback one money, might just be a start. Patrick Mahomes money to a guy that got 7 sacks last year. I'm not bad mouthing TJ. Don't, the TJ fans, I love you, I do. But at the end of the day, being real, Patrick Mahomes money to a guy on defense that landed 7 sacks. That could have something to do with it. Money could be certainly used a lot of different ways to bring in a lot of different people. Man, remember we had one wide receiver for 2 years. Maybe if we had a little bit more money, a little bit more cash flow, maybe we could have brought somebody in. I don't know. Whatever the deal is, things need to be fixed. We know that. We're far from a Super Bowl team right now, in my opinion. We're pretty far. I'm not saying it's not doable. I'm not saying that we're not just years out from being a team, but again, there's things that need to be fixed with this team, and maybe we are starting the process of that happening, guys. Let me jump back on the board here again. I don't want to miss out on anybody today. I'm going to make it my special point, my special goal. I don't want to miss out on anybody. Tyrone says, I'm ready for the giraffe. Me too, brother. It's going to be a blast, dude. Can't wait these guys come down. Mark Malone says, this Graham will turn this defense around. A 100% improvement over Tomlin's D. And I just want to ask you, though, And not, I'm just asking for the sake of asking, Mark. Mark Malone. Las Vegas had the 32nd best team in the league. And let me just throw a couple other things out there. Yes, they had big problems. They whatever their issues were, but you had Geno Smith, who listen again, he's an average quarterback, but he went to Seattle, got some wins. He's not a terrible quarterback. Let me build my case. And then you get a guy who's a rookie with Ashton Genty. The guy got mad talent. They literally finished 32nd. Nobody finished lower than this team. They have a Max Crosby, somebody that I think that people would say that's somewhat similar to our rusher. What do we have so much more than the Raiders that separate the 32nd best team and us? Is our defense that much better? Did it fail that much last year that it was coaching? Or is this group of guys just getting older and maybe they aren't going to be the Seattle Seahawks defense that we've seen on Sunday night? Is Patrick Graham, is he enough to turn this into what we've seen on Sunday night? Or what we've seen 2 weeks ago in the game that allowed these teams to get into the Super Bowl? Is it that easy of a fix? I don't know. Again, it seems like we have more issues, but again, we are making the steps to make changes, and I got to say I appreciate that. At least we're not saying that we're not doing anything. So the steps in the right direction, they are happening. We're going to learn a lot about our football team, as we always do, guys, and certainly with a big off season here, a lot of things going down. The draft just 73 days away. Tyrone says Raiders were ranked 14 with one superstar, no name. So, I mean, that's the defense. You're right. They were average. They were middle of the pack, which is very much what the Steelers have been. And I say that the Steelers probably underachieved. Maybe the Raiders overachieved. So it kind of evens out for me in a way. Again, I want to see what Patrick Graham can do with this defense. I don't want to be sitting around halfway through the season going, ay. Really no change in our defense. We're getting the same results. These guys came in and ran the ball down our throats. So, I mean, there's got to be some pretty radical changes, I would think. Otherwise, again, back in the quicksand. And I don't know. It's been very difficult for us to get out of the quicksand. Mark Malone, without Tomlin, we're a contender. Rodgers can bring that seventh Lombardi home. Steel Loyal says coaches around the league refer to Patrick Graham as the defensive savant. I mean, I like that. I would, if he's the defensive savant and he can come here and fix everything, that's wonderful. Kenneth Jones says never sell your future for an instant bowl of porridge. If that's going back to Jared Goff, I agree 100%. But how much more can we talk about the future with this team? Again, we're a decade kind of behind the eight ball. When New England, they took 2 seasons and they're right back at it. We got to kind of be on the path that they're on, as they had no Super Bowl wins at the beginning of the century, and they had could almost have passed us if they would have won on Sunday. So that's just telling me we need to do some work here if we want to continue to have Steelers success that we love here in Pittsburgh. Tyrone, he says this, we'll in way be okay. Yes, we in way better position 19 coaches on that. I know. We're gonna have about 30 coaches when it's all said and done. Kenneth Jones says Howard can sit in the front of Rodgers and still learn. Rodgers can break glass in emergency. I don't know if is Rodgers gonna be down with that though. Can you see Rodgers sitting around just being teacher? Again, he's not a Steeler, he's a Packer. He's going to retire a Packer. He spoke about his allegiance to Green Bay this season while being in Pittsburgh. If this situation was in Green Bay, I definitely think that's definitely a more of a possibility. Would he go back to the Jets to mentor maybe one of their young quarterbacks? You know what I mean? Would he go back to New York and mentor their second-year quarterback while he doesn't play? It just doesn't seem likely to me. It just, again, if it was Green Bay, possibly. You never know. Mark Maloney says, dude, that was all Tomlin. We couldn't do anything without a Hall of Fame quarterback in Cowher's team under Tomlin. Kenneth Jones says this, Darnold moved well in the pocket in the Super Bowl. Jamal says, I noticed that. Tyrone says, anyway, JPJ is the GOAT. What's good, fellas? Nice seeing you, Vegas. Always great seeing Vegas on the terrible board. Yinzer Joe, believe it or not, relics are profitable. Still Loyal says, definitely me 3-year span. 3-year span on the Steelers being a championship team is what Tyrone is saying. Still Loyal says two good years off, I think. A couple years off. Tyrone says, shit, this year if off-season and draft hit. Aaron Jade is saying, yes, don't drink that. Corey says, we ain't winning a damn thing with McCarthy. We're going to be eating dead cat for his contract in year 3. Tyrone says, Tomlin, Austin will be gone. Ryan, that was the biggest problem. Steel Loyal says, give our franchise quarterback 1 year to acclimate himself with pieces around him. And if we draft well, we damn sure have a chance. So there's a lot of optimism on the board. Tyrone says, you don't know what McCarthy can do. Laugh my ass off. Also, Tyrone says, facts. Loyal RB, hire a coach who doesn't run the same fucking game plan every game, every week, every year for 12 years straight. Ty says, I like Mike McCarthy here. And you know what? The thing is, I like it. It's going to be okay with me again because he's a Pittsburgh guy. So I have that hometown homer. You know what I mean? For that reason, I'm okay. But in the big picture, I want to win. I want things to be turned around. And it's no secret. I wanted a younger guy. I wanted somebody who was innovative. I wanted somebody who was going to keep up with the league. And I didn't see Mike McCarthy able to do that in Dallas. It didn't seem like he was keeping up as John Harbaugh and as Mike Tomlin. They just weren't keeping up as this new flock of younger coaches have been coming into the league. So that's my concern. That's one of my concerns. It might change things to the better on offense because McCarthy's, he's going to be doing the offense thing. But at the end of the day, is it going to be more of the same, but just a head coach with a different philosophy? I hope not. I hope not. But again, we will see. We will see. Let's go to this. Tyrone says West Coast offense. He's finna get us a quarterback and actual wide receiver room watch. And at the end of the day, how much of not having any wide receivers was Mike Tomlin's responsibility? I don't think really much, I don't know. And again, I got to be honest. I've been very, very happy with the aggressiveness of Omar Khan in the offseason. But again, why wasn't Omar Khan in 2 years? Why couldn't he get a wide receiver too? Why? What's going on? And what tells us that that's not going to happen again? I mean, these are obvious fixes, but I thought getting a wide receiver too would have been an obvious fix last year. And it never happened. It was like ever since Brandon Ayuk played his weight game with us, we just said, you know what? Screw it. We're not even running with a wide receiver too. It's going to be okay. We have Arthur Smith, everybody. Relax. Kenneth says this, total defense last year, we were 19, the Raiders were 17. RB says, I'm still in shock weeks later, realizing McCarthy uses Tuesdays to sit down with staff and develop a game plan for the coming week, not sit down and come up with a game plan for the entire decade. All right, point taken. Still Loyal says, and we have much more talent than Vegas. I think that we do. I would like to think that we do. I mean, we don't have any wide receiver twos, or again, we're very, kind of getting up in age on the defensive side of the ball. RB says this, Juggles Austin can join the Ringling Brothers. Mark Malone, Mahomes only makes $23.3 million. I have a point. Yeah, the point. You understand the point, though. I think with TJ's money. That's generally money that's put in somebody's hands that decides games. 7 sacks in a season? That's a lot of money you're giving a guy for 7 sacks. Vegas says, right, my talent was used up long ago. Also, Tyrone says, just being real, I get it. I love TJ, but I want him reconstruct. You know what? He needs to reconstruct. Big Ben used to reconstruct every damn year, it seemed like. And guess what? They were successful. It's choosing team over yourself for once. It's kind of a thing. Being a team player. RB says you could got wide receiver 1, B, and 2, and a competent edge rusher with TJ's money. You could have done a lot of things with TJ's money. No two ways about it. Still Loyal says, laugh my ass off. Vegas, same. Mark Malone, he says Vegas is constantly number 32 in all regards. Still Loyal says no O-line. Got the one good guard. That's it. I was going to go over today if with Mike, I was going to go over the free agencies and who we wanted to keep. Maybe I'll do that with Finch tomorrow. Vegas says the Raiders are devoid of talent on defense besides Max. Mark Malone says, yeah, it's much better. Mark Malone also says, I wouldn't be surprised if Watt breaks Garrett's record next year. But what if he don't? What if he gets 7 sacks again? You know what I mean? What if TJ Watt brings 7 sacks next year to the table? I mean, that's a large waste of money. Tyrone, no quarterback, O-line, I don't know. One player on the defense. Inder Joe says it's the group of guys getting too old and slow. That's it. They're getting very old and slow. Again, let's think of how the Super Bowl was. Let's think of that Seattle defense. It was constantly already moving toward the ball before the ball was even snapped. I mean, they were a very good, fast, young, alert, aware defense. Did that defense look anything like ours? Let me read that again. Yinzer Joe says it's the group of guys getting too old and slow. We sit around blaming Tolman and coaches. LOL. Steel Loyal says Patrick Graham is way better than the stats show. And I listen, and I hope you're right. All I have to go by is the fact that they were the worst team in the league. And he was half of that. So that's all I'm going. I hope you guys are right. I hope you can come in here and improve our defense. Vegas says they drafted C and moved him already. Tyrone says, yes, I got faith in this coaching staff. Vegas has no talent, yet had some middle-of-the-road stats, which is actually pretty good. Steel Loyal says this, we've never seen Patrick Graham with a talented defense. We're about to. All right. He follows it up by saying, guarantee you PG is licking his chops right now looking at our defensive roster. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. I hope the defensive savant can change things around. Vegas says, hopefully Omar can do a great job this offseason with all the cap space and all the draft picks. And this has potential to be huge. Again, if we get a home run here in 73 days at the draft in Pittsburgh, guys, if we hit a home run, we're going to be looking good. And again, we put ourselves in a position where we could kind of, start to make these changes that we needed and we thought that we've needed for years and years. So let's see, guys, again, 73 days will certainly tell on that. Again, I have some important dates. As a matter of fact, let me take a break in the board for just a moment to give you some updated important dates moving forward, guys. This month on the 23rd of February, today is the 10th. So again, in 2 weeks, the 23rd to March 2nd, is the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. And then after that's over, one day after that's over on March 3rd, guys, we have the franchise tag deadline. 1 week later on February 9, you have the free agency unofficially beginning. That's called the tampering period. And then see these are things that Mike is really good with. I really wish he was here with his expertise because again, he let ego get the best of him. I wish he was right here right now because I could certainly use him. Free agency unofficially begins on March 9. It's called the tampering period, and then on March 11, guys, is the 2026 league year beginning. That's when the new league in the NFL officially begins. That is when the 2026 year starts for the NFL. That is on March 11, just 1 month and 1 day from today. On March 29th through April 1st is the annual league meeting. April 23rd through the 25th, guys, 73 days away is the draft. And then on May 13th, they will be releasing the schedule, guys. So just May 13th, that is 3 months 93 days from today, they will be releasing the official NFL schedule. So those are some important dates in this offseason, guys. And then you got all the you have the rookie camps, you have optional camps, you have all kind of stuff coming up after this. So we'll keep you dated as we get a little bit closer. But these are all the important dates of now, guys. The combine, the end of the month, franchise tag deadline, beginning of next month. Free agency unofficially begins with the tamper period. Also, you have the new league year starting, the annual league meeting, the draft, and the release of the projected schedule, guys. That's on May 13th. That is just 93 days from now. So the next big thing we do have coming up here in a couple of weeks is the combine. That's always fun to watch. Watch all these young guys get out there running their 40s, doing all the tests and skills that they have to do to get spotted and seen as they try to get drafted in the big draft coming to Pittsburgh this year, guys. Let me jump back on the board here. I'm going to start with Vegas, where he says more wide receivers and tight end jet sweeps. Vegas, facts. Vegas is huge. That is what Tyrone says. Jamal, he says, do we think our defense will suffer with an offensive-minded head coach? That's a good question. That's a good question. How do you think that affects our defense in the big picture with an offensive-minded coach? We've never had it. And we've always been somewhat of a defensive team. No, Cowher, Tomlin. So that's an interesting question, Jamal. Yinzer Joe says this: what are we all going to say when these 30 new coaches can't get a better record than Tomlin did with his little staff? Oh, it's all his team picks. That's right. Let's hope that that's not the case. Let's hope that we can. I think at the end of the day, everybody's just ready to move forward. We want a chance, just like everybody else. A lot of these other teams that are getting into the playoffs. We just need to move forward. We got to get out of the funk that we're in. Steel Loyal says, I think our defense gets better, believe it or not. And you got to remember, though, the defense compared to the defense the year before should have been considerably better. I mean, some of the guys, Sean Elliott, they were saying this is going to be one of the best defenses we've ever been on. Defense let up 250 yards on the ground to Buffalo at home. Mark Malone, the young autistic minds suck, man. Kenneth says this: if we can get Jordan Tyson wide receiver, that would be the strongest pick. Still Loyal, Tyson is probably going top 10. Tyson Lemon Boston, Tyrone is saying on the board, talking about receivers in the draft, of course. Still Loyal, talking about defensive talent. Ty says he could fall with injury history. Still Loyal, we have way more talent than Vegas, and it's not even close. I agree, but can we all agree that, again, you've seen what it takes, what kind of defense could win a Super Bowl? And New England's defense is even good for that matter. I mean, are we there, or are we aging in a sense that it might be time? It might be time to start replacing older bodies with younger bodies, and we have a bunch of old bodies on this team. We have a grip. We have a handful of older bodies on this team. Again, our quarterback being possibly 43 years old. If in fact we do go that route, let me move forward here. Huge off season for the Steelers. Tyrone is saying. Steel says, I'm sorry, let's go to Yinzer Joe. The Raiders had a weaker schedule and lost more games, but yeah, let's hire their defensive coordinator. Also, Yinzer Joe says even our offensive coordinator hasn't done it before. Kenneth says we will pick up 2 or 3 receivers this year. They had to see Wilson, a third round, and an Austin experiment over. And what I don't get, and call me crazy, what did Roman Wilson do that was so wrong that kind of worked him out of the equation? I mean, unless there's a big story, something that's going on behind the scenes that we don't know, you think somebody would have leaked that information at some point. What's the deal? Why did this guy completely get blackballed when it came to the receivers on this team? He caught passes. He caught more passes. Didn't drop anything. There was one time at the end of the year when he jumped over a guy when he should have just took the tackle and he fumbled the ball. But you don't give the guy his opportunities. What was the deal with him? Why did they avoid him like the plague? Steel Loyal says our offensive coordinator ain't doing anything except for setting the pre-snap motions. McCarthy calling the plays. Vegas 26-27 schedule. AFC North 4. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yes. So what do we got? 20. So we have for next season, this coming season, we have the South from the NFC and the AFC. So that's that's not difficult. However, we do have the first place teams from the divisions that we do have. So we get the Patriots, whoever the hell, Denver, and then Philadelphia. I think they finished on top of the NFC East, but we do get the South division though. So it's I don't know. It's kind of a tough. There's some tough teams in there, but there are a bunch of beatable teams in there as well. We will see. Yinzer Joe says, so it's a wasted position. Mark Malone says it would be a large waste, no doubt, but I'm telling you now that Tomlin is going to be is gone and it's going to look completely different. Steel Loyal says, not really. He'll be working with Muth in Washington because he was a tight ends coach. I like that. I'd like to see those two guys get more involved. Anytime they touched the ball, for the most part, I mean, come on, they were productive. I would have given the ball. Listen, if you would have given the ball to them two guys in all the times where you threw the ball to Jonnu Smith and he got literally nothing, things would have probably been better. So again, why continue to be why did Aaron Rodgers continue to love to go to Jonnu and not go to Roman? What are we not seeing? What are we not knowing? Jonnu Smith got next to nothing. Again, his touchdown at the beginning of the year was against the Jets on the jet sweep, and I think he scored a receiving touchdown down there. It was again a lot of catch and tackle. There was no athleticism, no elusiveness that we thought that we were getting with Jonnu Smith. I mean, that was the part of bringing him in, was his athleticism. Vegas says Jonnu had more rushing yards than Johnson. I had more rushing yards than Johnson. Bad Bunny. He ran for he even went 124 yards in his halftime show. He had more yards than Johnson did. Let's go. Kenneth says, let's face it, we dropped the ball, dropped the TJ ball, and we'll just have to use it. Vegas says, dudes be a tight end coach on like 6 different teams. Steel Loyal says, need someone that like that from Muth in Washington since we ain't been using them correctly. And you know the beautiful thing about the offenses that use their tight ends effectively, man, they're so tough to stop. And who can you learn from more than the Steelers? We always have difficult times covering tight ends. Why we can't use them or defend them? You'd think we would be good at one or the other. Say we were good at using them, maybe we wouldn't have the answer to stop them, or vice versa. Why we can't stop the tight ends and why we don't use them more, I'll never know. Again, teams that use their tight ends that are effective are very successful and have been for quite some time if they use them right. Steel Loyal said, need someone like that. Got that. Vegas is 5 picks in top 99. Getting 12 picks altogether for the Steelers. RB says, if we're bringing Aaron Rodgers back, I can live with it, but Mason needs to go. Howard or a rookie, younger free agent needs to back up. Mason can't be here to take snaps away from who's being prepared. Tyrone says, let's go. Love the off season. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Don't drink that. He says, where did Mike go now? I don't know. Who knows? Steel Loyal says to get milk. Doc, what's up, Doc? I do want to say what's up, Doc. He's saying, is AJ Brown worth his baggage? I'm gonna have to check into it. I'm not real sure, Doc, but I do want to say welcome to the terrible board. I do want to say welcome to the show. How much baggage? I mean, I think this team kind of going to get away from baggage as well, but you can never say someone is going to have it, because again, we thought DK was going to be an upgrade over GP. And again, when it came down to it, the 2 games that mattered, the baggage that came with DK, it surfaced. Steel Loyal says, can't really get worse. RB says Boston is nice, but he's not a first-round talent. Kenneth says ideology will change on defense and offense if we can just find consistency on both sides of the ball. That's a positive change. Steel Loyal says TJ Cam and J Ram rest are all relatively young on defense, but those are 3 pretty big positions. 1 guy on each level. 1 guy on the line, 1 guy as a linebacker, and 1 guy in the secondary. Vegas says, I read mock yesterday with Boston was taken at 21. His highlights are cool, but it's not like he was amazing or anything. Steel Loyal says, never understood why people say our defense is old when we only have 3 older guys on it. Well, Cam's pushing 40. 40. And the thing when people talk about old, I think old in the NFL is 30-ish. Once you get into the 30s, you got to start reconsidering what you got going on and maybe trying to get younger. The fact that our Cam is pushing 40, Aaron's in his mid 40s by the time this thing is all said and done. And again, you're giving a gazillion dollars to the other guy that we're talking about of interest here. And again, 7 sacks at the end of the day, or end of the season, if you will. Corey says, ask JJ. LOL, he's about to work himself out of Minnesota. Vegas says the scheme is old. Also, Steel Loyal says, yes, the scheme is very old. Players, not so much, he's saying. Also, I mean, what do we know? How many people in their late 30s and 40s were in the game on Sunday night? How many people were in their late 30s or 40s that were even semi-successful in January? Again, you're getting into the 30s. That's when you start to consider people old in pro sports, I would think, especially football. Tyrone says, yeah, new scheme. Vegas says this Muth is the longest tenured drafted player on offense. He follows it up by saying John had more rushing yards than Johnson. Vegas says Johnson also never made anyone miss on kickoff returns. You know what? I wasn't happy with him from the beginning. I thought he was slow. There was no acceleration on kickoff returns, and he was definitely not making anybody miss. But again, he was very limited. Perhaps due to the one mistake that he made in the second game of the year. I don't know if that was it, but he seemed blackballed in a way too. Why him and Roman Wilson? I mean, just as the year went on, just never really got their reps. You'd see him every now and then. Let's go to Johnson. Made it every miss. Seen someone get blasted every single time on return. Somber says like Calvin Austin III on punt returns. I'm going to go right here to Somber. That's coaches not putting players in the right position. What's new? M. Sparks. What's up, brother? Always great seeing M. Sparks on the board. He says, Yins, Pittsburgh Steelers for life. Somber says this 30 plus should mean less money, not more. Interesting. Also, Steel Loyal says exactly Somber. Let's give 30-year-old edge rusher $41 million. So again, it's all debatable. I mean, we're kind of seeing the results of what it is that we have, and we're just trying to figure out what changes we need to make to move forward and kind of get over these humps, guys, that we've been on for quite a few years, and the hurdles that we've been trying to jump, certainly for that period of time as well. So we do think that the Steelers are going to be, that it could certainly be a good enough team to get into the championship round of the playoffs within the next 4 years. I think a majority of everybody on the board has went that route. Let me give you guys, let me talk about these couple things here real quick. I do have the DraftKings odds for the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys. This is what the odds are for the Steelers according to DraftKings to be their Super Bowl champion this year. That's right, guys. The Steelers are at a plus 6,000 this year to win the Super Bowl. That is tied for 18 best, guys. 18, middle of the road is where the Steelers have been for a long time. Middle of the road, I think, is where the Steelers are trying to finally get out of, because to be where we want to be, you got to be better than middle of the road. And again, middle of the road. Our defense has been middle of the road. Our offense has been, pretty bad, actually. A lot of things considered, though, the Steelers are a very middle of the road team. That's what we need to improve. We need to not be a middle of the road team. We not to be so average. We need to be a team who maybe gets 13 wins in a season. We need to be a team that does the things that the better teams that are getting chances in January, that are giving themselves opportunity to play in February. We need to get on that level, guys. So all the things we talked about could certainly all play into it. We certainly have made the first steps we made. We changed the entire coaching staff. So there's, again, the changes are happening. We're going to see if they play out. We'll sit here this year and say this, that. Then at the end of the season, we'll match up all the information and say, well, guess what? This was totally different than it was the year before. but this didn't change. So again, a lot of things need to change to get on that upper echelon of the upper tier of teams. Because again, we do sit smack dab in the middle. Again, our defensive coordinator, even though with the 32nd best team in the league, did finish at 17 or whatever it was. The Steelers were at 19 on defense. Let's hope he could get us out again of that middle of the pack range. You have to be able to separate yourself from the pack. That's what some of these teams are doing that's winning. That's what we're not doing. We're not able to separate ourselves, guys, and we have to do these things to move forward. The Pittsburgh Steelers, again, guys, plus 600 to win the Super Bowl. That is, again, 18th best, tied for 18th best in the NFL right now. That has to change. A lot of things do have to change moving forward. Again, Colin Cowherd, he does predict that the Steelers can improve by 2 wins in 2026 with Aaron Rodgers. Let me ask you, would you rather improve by 2 wins with Aaron Rodgers and have the same results in January? Or would you rather something different and be in the AFC Championship game by next year? Can we humble ourselves to take one season to where we'd say, you know what, we got our ass kicked? And I'm not saying throw, believe me, I'm not saying throw the season. Can we humble ourselves enough as Steeler fans to maybe drop down? New England was 4-13. New England was 4-13 last year. You know what I mean? For some reason, the Steelers fans we were just so hell-bent about not being under 500. So we would continue to rather, as time went on, stay right at that neutral pace. So again, are we willing to do what it needs are we willing to do what needs to happen for us to get back up here? I think ultimately, yes. But in real time, we're like, F that, man. So again, things have to change moving forward, and we certainly will see. There's a lot that's going down this offseason, guys. Again, just 73 days away from the NFL draft right here in Pittsburgh. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be so much going on. Again, we have 12 draft picks, and that doesn't mean that moves ain't going to be made and players aren't going to be moving and draft picks aren't going to be moving. It could all happen, guys. That is just 73 days away. And then again, shortly before that, the month before that in March, guys, next month, we do have free agency starting, guys. So there's going to be a lot of things that happen. Omar Khan has been very, very active the last 2 seasons, and we could be adding or removing guys 1 month from today. So keep that in mind. As we picked up Patrick Queen, like it or not, I'm just making my point. As we picked up, we made big trades over the past couple of years. We start signing free agents. Bringing this guy, bringing that guy. This is the time of year it happens, guys. We have 30 days until the tampering until that tampering time in free agency begins. So 30 days, 1 month from right now, we could have new free agents coming in, going out. A lot of stuff going on in this off season. Let me let me jump back on the board. I'm gonna go right here to Yinzer Joe. Yinzer Joe says Morgan Moses is 34 and was the oldest player on Super Bowl Sunday. 34 was the oldest player on Super Bowl Sunday. What do we have, about 3 or 4 guys older than on our team? And if not, you should add Aaron Rodgers too, because he's a decade older than the oldest person in the Super Bowl. Morgan Moses was 34. Aaron Rodgers is going to be 43 next year during the season. He's a whole decade older than the oldest guy that played in the Super Bowl. Just saying. Not a lot of relics running around out there on Sunday. Somber says, or at least if you're those old players, the reason you're still playing for a Super Bowl, so why not take a pay cut so your team could get more pieces? And again, Ben did this every damn year. I mean, every year it seemed like Ben was reconstructing his contract to make it happen and so this team could win. Every year it seemed like. These guys are so gimme. Even all the way down to the kickoff in preseason last year, Cam Hayward was still trying to squeeze money from places. prematurely because of the contract he signed a year prior. He wanted he's seen the way it played out. And again, well, yeah, he has, but at the end of the day, come on. These veterans certainly aren't giving anything up. They're not. There's no compromise. There's no, again, reconstruction. It's crazy because again, 7 sacks from the guy that's making legit legit quarterback one money. The guys touch the ball every play to make that kind of money. They decide it. They win the games. They lose games. That money for us got 7 sacks last year. I'm going to go to at least 2 older players. The reason still playing the Super Bowl. All right. Still Loyal. Still Loyal says, what are the chances we win a playoff game this coming season? That's the I think that we can. I think that we can. I think it's just going to be, we have to figure out a way to not be in such a freaking hole. Every one of the last 7 playoff games, guys, we were down at least 21 points at some point. That's a big thing. Just depending on who we're playing, I think Baltimore's a team. Listen, if we went into a situation like last year against Baltimore in the playoffs, they should be a beatable team for us. We beat them 10 of the last 12 times we played them. There's no reason we couldn't beat a Baltimore if we play ball. So yes, I think ultimately we can. Do I think that we're ready to make an AFC championship run? I don't, not yet at least, but I think we could win a playoff game. Given the right team, right scenario, right situation, I do. Somber says like 8% higher than last year with a wide receiver too. Still Loyal says this. I don't give a fuck about regular season record. I mean, either. Not at all. Somber says I'll go with different. Still Loyal says Aaron Rodgers just announced he's coming. Did he really? Is this really happening? Because if it does, I'm gonna have Mike come to my studio and just blow my brains out everywhere. Is that real? As of 42 minutes after the hour, Still Loyal says Aaron Rodgers just announced he's coming back. Ty says I'm back. He follows it up by saying I got Taco Bell and my dog Wendy nuggets. Nice. Both good picks, I do got to say. Somber says hi back. Tyrone, he's hyped and got the zoomies, laughed my ass off. Can anybody give me a confirmation or anything on Aaron Rodgers? Usually this is what Mike would grab and find. However, I don't have access at the moment. Let me know. Somebody just said that Aaron Rodgers just announced he's coming back. It could be correct. It could be not correct. I just don't have the information in front of me. Corey says Ken acted that way because he saw TJ get paid for mediocre play and wanted to cash in. Cam, okay, I see Cam acted that way. Steelers did it to themselves. I agree. Ty says I really do got a problem. Also, Tyrone says might need Taco Bell therapy. You know what? That's a good problem to have. Still per Alex. So I mean, there it is, guys. If on Twitter, Somber says haven't seen anyone close to the team post it yet. Terry Bradshaw mentioned it. Still says he's pretty close. Interesting. So we may or may not have an addition back to the team this year. Again, we have talked quite a bit about that today. But on the board, I'm seeing that Still Loyal is saying that it's Aaron Rodgers. Did he make the announcement he's coming back here or just to play in general? Because I know Minnesota has an interest in him as well. Still Loyal says he's pretty close. Let me look at some things we got here, guys. Again, I was going to talk about free agents. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow when I'm more prepared to do it by one person or maybe with Finch. But I also was going to talk about, guys, do we extend Broderick Jones? Is that something that we do moving forward? I also want to know what you guys think about the TJ contract. I mean, there's things that need to be done financially, monetarily, for this team to also continue to move forward. Yes, replacing the coach was a thing. It did happen, guys. Steel Loyal was saying this. His exact words: "If you want me to come back for a year, I'll come join you." For F's sake. Somber says, like Farball or Standards, I'm sure it'll come out soon. So there you go, guys. It could be happening right now. But as I said, a lot of financial things need to happen for this team moving forward. Monetarily, you have the Cam money, you have TJ money. Again, what are you doing with some of these players? What are you going to do with your Broderick Jones? Are you paying JPJ? So again, a lot of things are going to be answered this offseason, as it's going to be a huge, if not one of the biggest off seasons in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise. Certainly, as far as I know, certainly in the Super Bowl era, maybe I should say. But that is kind of what some more, because we kind of got behind the eight ball in a sense. And again, we walked in that quicksand for so long. And there's things that weren't getting fixed as that was happening. So we kind of have to fix this as a whole. I don't think just changing that coaching staff is going to be, it's going to, there's a lot of things that still need to happen. A lot of things that still need to happen. And this is the off season that it should happen. So we'll continue to follow it every day, day in, day out. Vegas says this, yes, extend your leg and boot him out the door. I think we're talking about Broderick Jones. Sommer says, I wonder who Bradshaw is talking to. Tyrone says, I ain't seen nothing. So we'll keep our eye on that. I don't doubt that that's what he said. That sounds exactly like something he would say. But again, we'll keep our eye open. Steel Loyal says this, no clue. Could be A-Rod himself. Maybe they got past their beef. Maybe. Also, Steel Loyal says, I posted the link in the group chat. Also, guys, this. Anybody see this? Did anybody see this? Did anybody see Kenneth Walker III and Sam Darnold riding around in the teacups at Disney? Of course, they made their way to Disney yesterday for the MVP. The MVP always goes to Disney. And the one shot that I seen was Kenneth Walker III and Sam Darnold in the same teacup together. We all been there in them. Maybe have kids. You've seen the teacup in the kiddie section. I got to be honest with you. It was more entertaining than the halftime show. It really was. It made me chuckle. It made me laugh to see Kenneth Walker III and Sam Darnold in the teacup together, spinning around with all the other little kids spinning at the same time. If you didn't see, check it out. Let's see. I see this. I see it on his Twitter is what Somber's saying. Somber says just nobody else posting about it yet. Steel Loyal says I'm faster than Adam Schefter confirmed. I like that. I like the ability on this guy. Tyrone says, well, if A-Rod get it, let's get it and then. Let's get it then. Somber said either that or the people don't give Bradshaw credibility. Vegas says Adam ran 4.430 40-yard dash. Tyrone says, like I said, I didn't want it, but I will support my – and that's where I'm at too. And that's where I'm at every year because it's my team. I support my Steelers no matter what. A 30-yard dash. Vegas, I gotcha. But you know what I mean? That's where I'm at, dude. I want things to get better. Whatever that's going to take. Steel Loyal says tore his hammy in the last 10 yards. Oh, what do we got, guys? What do we got? Let me talk about a few things here. Sometimes you got to move the goalposts. You know what? I'm gonna take a look myself just to see. I'm gonna go to Adam Schefter. Listen. I'm not doubting anything anybody's saying. I'm blindly in this story and in this news and information going on. So I myself, I'm going to go to Adam Schefter just on Twitter myself. Again, only for my own sanity. I trust and I believe every single person on this board. I truly, honestly do. But being blind to it as everybody's talking about it, it's making me nuts. So just let me pull up Adam Schefter real quick here as we do try to figure out what's going on. What's going on? Again, with Aaron Rodgers. All right, there we go. Why can't I find that? Why can't I pull up Adam Schefter? What's going on here? I'm losing my mind. Somber says it's just the one report so far. Adam has been silent about it. Steel Loyal is saying. Tyrone says, why I love the show. I like your points. They're like mine. Somber says this. Yep, I'll support always, but support doesn't equal excitement. I agree. Actually, I'm not seeing anything. And for whatever reason, Adam Schefter's not popping up for me, so I don't know. I don't know. All right, Adam Schefter, bam, right there. Let's try this one more time. Taking a peek, see, scooting down right here. See, 2 hours ago, he's talking about JSN. 16 hours ago, he's talking about Clint Kubiak. You try to refresh here, maybe. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on that, especially if it's recently. And I don't know how much further I want to go down because still not seeing that, but we certainly keep our eye on that, guys. I don't know. Still Loyal may have seen something, or is he saying just kidding? I don't know. He is saying JK, but if he is, Tyrone says, like I said, I give you a real wide receiver core. I like it better than we are last year. I mean, again, that's things that we needed to do. There's no two ways about that, Ty. We needed to get these things done. We needed to get receivers. We needed to, so again, it's okay. Ty saying he didn't post yet. I did just see that. Seeing a bunch of other things, but also, as I said, I think that it's going to take a lot more than just a coaching change, because again, I think the moves they made so far were minimal. It really feels that listen, if they would have went younger, more innovative as far as the coach, who knows what they would have came up with moving forward for this team to try to change things around. You kind of have a feeling. You could kind of go back and see, Mike McCarthy with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. You could see Mike McCarthy's work in Dallas. Again, Dallas certainly wasn't winning any Super Bowls in the time period that he was in Dallas. Dallas hasn't been in the NFC Championship game since 1995. So there's definitely needs to be a handful of things that do need to happen for a positive changes to be made. We did start with the changing of the coaches, all of them top to bottom, with the exception of a few guys. So there's certainly things that we do need to have happen for this team to keep improving and moving in the right direction, or at least getting back in the right direction, as some may think as well. Steel Loyal says only Terry Bradshaw and that Alex guy. Gotcha. And I believe you. Don't get me wrong. I do believe you. Somber says Alex Kazora posted it, quoting Terry Bradshaw. Gotcha on that. Christopher, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Christopher. My man, he says this Romeo Doubs and Alec Pierce and free agency and draft wide receiver Denzel Boston, and I'll be one happy Yinzer. You know what? That sounds good to me, man. Did I hear that Romeo Doubs didn't want to leave there? No, I heard that he wanted to stay. I could be wrong, but I thought I remember reading that. Somber says this, well, quoting Bradshaw, quoting Rodgers, LOL, quoteception. Gotcha. The quote of the quote of the quote, if you will. So there you go, guys. Also, anybody else catch this? Njoku, he wants out of Cleveland now. Where's Tater been since all this stuff's been going down against Cleveland? Of course, he said he's done. David Njoku says he's done in Cleveland, of course, being a very, very effective target for the Browns offense as they continue to lose, and it's continue to lose pieces of their puzzle, and it's great to see. Couldn't happen to a better franchise. The Browns, David Njoku says he is done in Cleveland. Let me see if I missed anything on the board. I'm doing pretty good today, guys. I've made a goal to make sure I got every message, and I'm doing my best, and I think we're being able to keep up. Where is that Tater? I don't know where he's at. Still Loyal says love to hear it though. Somber says Njoku got ran out of town by the rookie fan. Yeah, he did. But you know what? He's been one of the only people on that damn offense that's done anything for the past 5 years. So again, it's just crazy. Every time they get something that works for them in Cleveland, they F it up. Every time. Baker Mayfield, the guy literally gave them the best season they had since 1989. They beat the Steelers. They dominated the Steelers in the playoffs, and that just wasn't good enough for the Browns. They send them on his way, and now they are back to being the Browns, doing what it is that the Browns do, messing everything they touch up. It's like the opposite of the Midas touch. It's the Browns touch. Everything turns to shit. Everything they touch turns to shit. It's rather comical. And again, thank God we have the Browns. Thank God for the Browns, guys. Tyrone says this. Now I'm waiting for the news. I know. I'm just waiting for news here. Steel Loyal says they tried to blame. Bro, they had. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do anything since 1989. Baker Mayfield comes in and embarrasses the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that the Browns didn't finish ahead of in the division since 1989. And it just wasn't good enough for them. It just wasn't good. God love them, Cleveland, everybody. Thank God they're back. I sure missed them for 3 years in the 90s. It was something. It was tough times, to say the least. Tyrone says, so is it confirmed or Steel Loyal saying not confirmed, but looking close? Yeah, keep us posted, bro. We appreciate it for sure. Steel Loyal says going to wait until someone else reports it as well to confirm for sure. All right, my man. Let me talk about a few of these things. Well, he does keep an eye on that. I do want to say this. The new logo is out also in the NFL. So for the Super Bowl. So Corey or anybody else that wants to look into the conspiracy theory side of things, the new logo is out. You can check out the logo and its colors, as that's gained a lot of attention over the past 5 or 6 years. A lot of people want to match the logo and see if it matches different teams, the city that they're playing in. But it will be in Inglewood, California next year at SoFi Stadium. The Super Bowl will be, and the logo is out. Well, as a matter of fact, I think there's an alternative logo as well. There's 2 different logos for next year's Super Bowl. Let me grab Corey right here. Speaking of the devil, let me grab Corey. He says, now there's a narrative that Drake May played injured. I'm assuming to diminish the idea that he just played like dog shit and the Seahawks picked him apart. So it's his bum shoulder's fault. Corey, now that I know that I have you on the board, did you see the new logos? And do they match anybody? One thing that I noticed they don't match is the Steelers. They had about 5 teams on one side and about 20 teams on the other side that matched the colors, and the Steelers did not fall into the category or the scheme of colors. But go check those logos out. And I want to know, Corey, what do you think? Anything catch your eye so far in the logos? And there it is. Steelers. I'm sorry. Steel Loyal says Bears and Dolphins. Bears versus Dolphins is going to be what what it is if you're going to pay attention to the colors of the logo. Christopher says pair David Njoku. Oh my God. If you would have David Njoku, Darnell Washington, and Pat Freiermuth, and you used them effectively, we're dangerous. But again, not only with tight ends, add an offense as well. Have other receivers. You know what I mean? Don't go Arthur Smith on us and just go with all tight ends. But at the end of the day, Njoku is a beast. He's always been a beast. Darnell is a beast. And also, of course, Pat Freiermuth can be very serviceable if used correctly. Tortilla says Steelers versus Lions. You know what? That could be a really popular Super Bowl. Steelers versus the Lions. People would really like that, I think. Lions trying to get their first one. The Steelers obviously being the iconic franchise that they are. Could be a lot of fun, guys. Let me get through some of these announcements, guys. We are looking to grow the show this year. We're going to do a lot of big things as this is coming up on the 5-year anniversary this summer and also the big 1,000th show mark, guys. We're going to be looking to add to the show. If you would like to be involved, if you're interested, maybe you want to join the crew. We're looking for people to be in on segments, also to be in on a temp or a regular basis, and maybe do some splinter shows off of what it is that we're doing. On top of that, if you have any interest in joining the crew, do send your inquiry to the email address of the 2 Dum Yinzers, which I do think right off the top of my head, it is the 2 Dum Yinzers at Gmail. The 2 Dum Yinzers at gmail.com is the website. I had to think for a minute there. Also, guys, we are going to be, we're looking for, if you're looking to advertise, if you're a business or even just another show and you want to advertise, we are going to be adding advertisements and sponsors as well. Do also inquire through the email address. And finally, we're going to be doing a thing coming up with free network Saturdays. If you do have a show, maybe you have a new show or you're planning to have a show, let us know. We'll get you set up on our free network Saturdays to cross network a little bit, get all the different shows to have exposure to other people's watchers, viewers, and so forth. And again, hoping to strum up for people that are coming in, new eyes, and vice versa for people that are already involved. So again, if you have a show that you would like to be on our Saturday free network Saturdays, guys, that's going to be coming up this year, plus so much more. We're going to be heading to our 1-week winter break next week. We're going to finish up on Friday on show 911. It's going to be 911 when we wrap it up this Friday, and then we will go into our week vacation, and we'll be back the following week, getting ready for the everything coming up again. At the end of the month, we do have the Combine, and it's going to be perfectly timed out as we come back, heading into the Combine, and then again right before the preseason does kick off in the summer. We do have our other break at that time. So we do have a break coming up, guys. Do get a hold of us if you are interested in any of those things to sponsor, to be involved, or to have your show this is displayed freely right here on our network, guys. Do get a hold of us. That is at the2dumyinzers at Gmail. Also, what do we got? Spring training in baseball does take off this week, guys, for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are down in Bradenton, Florida, as the spring training does kick off. And I know there's a lot of Steeler fans in the house, and I know people are going, the Pirates. But listen to this. There's some big news. The Pirates are really building a team this year. They truly are. They truly are. The Pittsburgh Pirates, their payroll this year, guys, is $101,282,288. Guys, that is the most ever paid out to the payroll of the Pittsburgh Pirates. They went out and grabbed themselves 3 big bats this offseason to go along with that pitching staff of Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, and the whole crew. Guys, all they needed was some bats. Watch for the Pittsburgh Pirates to be competitive this year. Again, spring training starts this week for them. And again, this is the largest payroll ever in the franchise history. I'm always saying the Pirates are cheap. This is why they can't contend. They're a small market team. Guess what? This is exactly why they're doing what they're doing, to become a contender, to compete in the division and see if they can get farther, guys. Pirates, again, $101 million to their payroll this year. Believe it or not, it's happening. So we might have competitive baseball here in Pittsburgh. Penguins are looking good, second place in their division, guys, as they are at the Olympic break. So we might have some success in the postseason. Finally, in Pittsburgh, this has been since 2017 since any Pittsburgh team has advanced in the playoffs, guys. Any of the big three, Penguins, Pirates, Steelers, it hasn't happened since 2017. None of them has advanced in the playoffs. So hopefully these are some good things, of course, again, with the Pirates paying out money, the Penguins. And one thing that is in common also, guys, they all 3 have new coaches. There is that new coach energy. I'm telling you, if the Pirates can improve and the Penguins can improve with a new coach, I think that the Steelers better damn well improve as well with the new coach and the new system. That also, the Pitt Panthers back at it tonight. They're hosting the Duke Blue Devils tonight at the Pete in Oakland. That's a 9 o'clock start. If you're not going to make it down to the Pete, you can check it out. That game is going to be on ESPN. That is Duke at Pitt tonight at 9 o'clock. Let me grab a couple more questions here, and then we're going to get into, we're rounding third. We're going to get to this trivia question of the day, as it is about that time. This was a pretty damn quick show today. I'm going to be honest with you. Let me grab some of these comments here. I don't want to miss anybody. Steel Loyal says that would be a 6th Super Bowl. I think people would love it. The Steelers and the Lions. Anytime you get one of them new teams, people get excited. They get really excited. And again, anytime you get the Steelers in there, a lot of people obviously get excited. Tyrone says Steel Gang in this bitch. That's right, baby. What's going on to the Steel Gang, everybody? Steel Loyal says this, so they're actually building towards a playoff push. Well, you know what? The thing about the Pirates, though, being a small market team, I only give them that 3-year window. They've only been good at 3 years at a time when they do get good, and I only give them the 3-year window again. So with these new bats, Lowe and O'Hearn, I think his name is, and then also they brought in Ozuna yesterday. Who's going to be taking the place of Andrew McCutchen? Kind of controversial, actually, because Kutch has been the big name between Barry Bonds and Paul Skeens for the Pirates organization. So they're going to be eliminating him to bring in Marcell Ozuna, who is not the most likable guy in the world, but he's a bat. So it's going to be interesting to see what this Pittsburgh Pirates team does this year. Again, I think they generally have a 3-year window. And again, how much longer till Paul Skeens is going to need more money and that whole thing happens and the Yankees are going to come by waving their wad. That's going to happen. So I think that this 3-year window is big for our Buccos, guys. Again, spring training starts this week down in Bradenton, Florida. Here in a few weeks, the season will be getting ready to start off, believe it or not, opening pitch in just a few weeks. Steel Loyal says jealous. Ty says this. My Kansas Jayhawks knocked off number 1 Arizona basketball last night. That's awesome, man. Congrats on that. Steel Loyal says was pulling for Kansas last night. Somber said so sad. LOL. Ty says yeah, without Darnell Peterson too. Don't drink that. Corey says I have not. I need to look at I looked it up a day or two ago, and they were generic logos. They have like 2, like I said, and they have like a wave. There's like a wave in the background, almost like an ocean ocean mist, ocean spray, whatever that is, that logo with the wave is almost what it looks like in the background behind the new Super Bowl logo. Tyrone says red legs. Steel Loyal says Paul Skeens is nasty. Dude, yes, he is. Yes, he is. And if he had any kind of offense behind him, we should have been okay. But this is why the Pirates went out and spent money and got about 3 to 4 good bats. That lineup is going to be pretty stacked, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun on that end. Tyrone says, yeah, I'm a red Steelers, Ohio State Jayhawks fan. Somber says, I wish I was rich enough to wave my wad. Hey, you don't need to be rich to wave your wad. You can wave your wad anytime. OSU football ties saying there, guys. Let's get into. Do check out our website, guys. Check out www.d2winzers.com. Lots of cool things over there. Mike does put up his dumb thoughts. Also, he does have the links to every show, every 908 shows by the two Dum Yinzers, and also the contact information. So much stuff. Merchandise store. Go check out the website, www.d2winzers.com. That's www.d2winzers.com. All right, time to get into the question of the day. Trivia time. Steel Loyal says Clemson for football, UNC for basketball, Steelers, Braves, and Carolina Hurricanes here. Nice. Not a bad group of teams. Guys, put on our thinking caps. It is time. It is time. It is time for the question of the day. I'm going to, just because it was Super Bowl week, this isn't regarding the teams that were in it. This is regarding our Steelers. This is a Super Bowl Steelers question. Let's see how you guys do. Put on your thinking caps, guys. This is the question of the day. Here we go. Who scored the first ever touchdown in Steelers Super Bowl history? I'm looking for a player, a name of a guy. The question is, who scored the Steelers' very first touchdown ever in their Super Bowl history? Take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. every day right here on the tube. Again, guys, who scored the very first touchdown for the Steelers in their Super Bowl history? Of course, they won 4 in the 70s, so just thinking out loud, that's going to put us in the 70s. Who played then? I'll leave that there. Let you guys think on that. Tortilla saying Franco Harris on the board. Still Loyal, so there's no way in hell I'm getting this. I don't know. I think that you might be able to get it, man. If you can take a shot, just take some guesses if you don't know it, guys. Again, the question of the day, who scored the Steelers' first ever touchdown in their Super Bowl history, in the Steelers Super Bowl history? Who was the guy that scored the very first touchdown? I'll give you another hint. The first touchdown was a 16-6 win against the Vikings, and the first scoring in the game was a Dwight White safety, guys, and that put the Steelers up 2-0 over the Vikings in that Super Bowl. But who scored the first touchdown in that game is the question, guys. Who scored that touchdown? Steel Loyal is saying Lynn Swan. That's his guess. Tortilla is saying Franco Harris. Give another minute or so. Throw your guesses up there. Steel Loyal says John Stallworth. Those are my only guesses. Those are great guesses. If it's going to be anybody, it's probably going to be one of the 3 guys that you just mentioned. I'm not saying it is. It could have been Rocky. It could have been somebody else. But the 3 guys mentioned in the last 3 comments are all very good guesses. And I'm going to give you, and I'm going to say probably has a pretty good chance of one of them being the correct answer. Again, guys, question of the day, who scored the very first touchdown for the Steelers in their Super Bowl history? Again, it was the Minnesota Vikings 16-6 win. The first scoring was a Dwight White safety on Frank Tarkenton, giving the Steelers a 2-0 lead at halftime. But who scored the first touchdown for the Steelers is the question. A few different guesses on the board. If you think you know it, do throw it up there, guys. Another moment, we will be giving the answer away. 73 days from the draft, guys. Again, so much stuff coming in this offseason. We're going to see some changes. As close as next month, you're going to see guys being added, released, free agency happening, things, guys. So again, I'm trying to get this winter break out of the way so we can get back, hit the ground running and head into this, guys, as there's a lot of things coming down the pike for the Steelers in this offseason, possibly their biggest offseason ever. Tyrone says, I don't know. He says, I'm not sure. Yeah. Somber says, I had to look it up. I had no clue. All right, there you go. Christopher says Bradshaw, quarterback sneak, just as good as guess as any. Steel Loyal says those are really the only three I really know on the offense from back then, unless it was a defense. It was not a defensive touchdown. I'll give you that. That could be the last hint that I give you guys. It was not a defensive touchdown. It was by an offensive player on that Pittsburgh Steelers dynasty team in the 70s who scored the very first touchdown for the Steelers in their Super Bowl history ever. All right, got a bunch of different answers on the board. Bradshaw, Stallworth, Swan, Franco. The variety's up there, guys. Here we go. Question of the day. Who scored the Steelers' first ever touchdown in their Super Bowl history? I'll give you this. It was by way of 9 yards. It was Franco Harris on a 9-yard run. Franco Harris, 9-yard run versus Minnesota. Steelers win 16-6. There was the safety to start it off, Dwight White, and then Franco. Then I think Stallworth caught the second touchdown in that game. I think it was either Swan or Stallworth. One of those guys did catch the second touchdown in that game. But the correct answer of today's trivia, guys, is in fact Franco Harris scored the very first touchdown in Steeler Super Bowl history. I don't know. I was shitting myself. That's what the 70s were like for me. I was born in mid 78. So I wasn't even old enough to know what was going on at all in the 70s. Still shitting myself. Well into the 80s, I assume. I don't know. John would be a good person to ask. I don't see him on the board today, but he has a lot of good scoop from the 70s teams. It looked like a lot of fun. Tortilla, he says, Steel says, hell yeah, Tortilla. Jamal says, dope. Also, Tortilla says, okay, then, or Ty says, okay, Tortilla. Tortilla says, Big Frank, the Big Frank. Franco Harris, shitting myself. Yeah, I was definitely shitting myself in the 70s. That is one thing that I could give you from a personal experience from the 70s is I was shitting myself. And that's a fact. The real Steel Curtain. Let's see, guys. Let me get into a few things here as we just are at that part of the show. Unfortunately, I would like to continue to talk for hours and hours and hours, but it is that time. Let me get into some things here before we do wrap it up for the day. I do want to say this, as you are getting ready to go into this off season, you know what? Everybody always needs a drink from every now and then. If you're ready to have a drink, why don't you stop by and grab yourself a case of Duquesne Pilsner. Guys, it's now available in Giant Eagle in 6-packs, 12-packs. You can get it at your local, get cases in your local beer distributor, guys. Stop by. These people at Duquesne Pilsner go out of their way to include us in a lot of their promotions, and we couldn't thank them enough. Guys, get yourself some Duquesne Pilsner. We always have it right here in the studio on tap, guys. Good stuff made right in Pittsburgh, and it says right on the can, grab a Duke. Also, what else do we got, guys? I do want to say this. Go check out our social media. If you haven't had a chance, we are all over the internet. You can check us out on Facebook, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even TikTok. Swing by and hit the follow button. Keep up with the 2 Dum Yinzers are up to on a day-to-day basis. And if you haven't had a chance yet, do hit the like button down below here, right here on YouTube. Hit the like button, a sub, share, or even leave a comment. It all helps in the algorithm, guys. We appreciate it all. Thank you. With that being said, let me grab a few more messages here. That's exactly what's going to happen. That is exactly what's going to happen, Ty. Is it's the Aaron Rodgers news will happen the second we go off. You know it's going to happen, and then it'll be old news by tomorrow. By the time we get on, it's just the way things go. Steel Loyal said that's how our luck works. That Ty, no two ways about it. And then Jamal, I think you're probably 40. I think you said. So yes, you would have definitely been in the 80s, my man. Let's see what else we got going on here. Tomorrow we'll be back at our regular time to do it all over again. Again, we will be wrapping up this Friday on episode 911. Believe it or not, and we'll be taking our winter week break, and then we'll be back the following Monday. Again, time to reload a little bit, getting ready to continue into the off season. It's kind of a jump when you take football out of the equation in its entirety, and switch it up a little bit, but got a lot coming up for you guys. We're going to do a lot of things in that week off. So I can't wait to do that as well. Tyrone says facts, maybe not. Facts, maybe not. We'll see. Corey says John Stallworth. Make sure Finch will be here tomorrow. And I think Finch will also be here on Thursday as well, if I'm not mistaken. We will be back at our regular time to do it all over again. I do want to say this before we do take off, though. I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We surely do appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. want to say thank you everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show, guys. No two ways about it. You are the lifeblood of the show. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much to everybody on the board and everybody at home, whether you're in your car, whether it's your job, whether it's the gym, whatever you're doing. If you're listening or watching our show, thank you too, guys. All greatly appreciated. I heard it's supposed to go up in the 50s today. I think we're supposed to have a heat wave here in Western PA. Not sure how it's going to be everywhere else, but I'm hearing roughly 50 degrees, which is going to be great. You're going to see people right now walking down the street with no jackets on and shorts on. It's just what it is, because 50 is going to feel damn hot after, all those negative days being down to negative 10, things like this. So let me grab Christopher here. He says, even though Neil O'Donnell threw 2 picks in that Super Bowl, when he didn't throw a pick all year, I always felt we let him go. You know what I did too? We just hated him so bad because of the picks. You know what I mean? There was not a person on that didn't have their foot on his ass after that, or wanted to beat his ass after that. But unfortunately, you're right. He was very productive. The seasons leading up to got it to the AFC Championship game, the 3 more yards game the year prior to the Super Bowl season. Neil O'Donnell was very productive. He didn't throw a lot of interceptions. He was throwing 3,000-yard seasons, which was the standard back then. 3,000 yards in 16 games. That was what he shot for. Neil O'Donnell did all the things right except for those 2 passes on January 28th, 1996 in Tempe, Arizona. If that doesn't happen, he would have damn well been back the next year. Christopher, you were 100% right. And in the big picture, we probably should have kept him. But you know what? We had a cushion. We had a net with Cordell, and we've seen how that played out eventually. He ended up becoming the guy for the next 7 years or so. But Neil O'Donnell, guys, again, that's a very good point, Christopher. Those 2 throws were the difference. Everything else was rather good, and he led us to good seasons every year. Truly did. Heat wave. It is somber. It's big 50 today. Hopefully we can get up to 50. Ty says, yeah, it's still now, but the sun is out in Ohio. Steel Loyal says a couple other people were reposting the Terry Bradshaw quote, so it's starting to gain traction. All right, we'll certainly keep our eye on that. We'll talk about that and much more tomorrow. Again, on the Wednesday installment of the show. We hope to see everybody back. We'll be back at our regular time tomorrow to do it all over again. Anything else? Throw up any questions, comments on the board. We'll take about another minute here, and then we are going to take off for today. Again, catch Fitch tomorrow. Catch myself, possibly Mike. I don't know. We'll figure out what's going on with that. But again, guys, you are great. We love all you guys. Sticking around for another 30 seconds or so just to see if there's any other last questions. As I say to Mike, speak now, forever hold your peace. And I do want to say this, guys, thank you so much again for hanging out. See you bastards tomorrow, Ty says. Mike needs to go fishing, Still Loyal says. But yes, we will see everybody tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great Tuesday. Stay safe. And again, we'll try to have all the updated information, and we'll see what the hell goes on with Aaron Rodgers today. See if anything comes out of that. So again, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, Mike will be all right. For Derpy, for Finch, for Mike, myself, the 2 Dum Yinzers, everybody, have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.